I'm going to do more videos where I do the sound switch with just a few letter differences to show how closely they can look, but how profoundly they can change just by the letter placement. Now I'm going to start with the word that's not so common, bardo. It can be spelled B-A-R-T-O, but it's usually B-A-R-D-O, as in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the place that you go between lifetimes, or the place that you spend lifetime to lifetime in. So the bardo, B-A-R-D-O, base, active, reference, to or from, daya, ongoing. So whatever's ongoing and you're going to be going in and out of it, your base, active, reference, daya, ongoing. Now take that same idea and think of a base identity reference, or R is active here, to and from, and you have a bird. It's not just in the air because it's a base identity reference, to and from. So it's a bird. A border, B-O-R-D-E-R, base, ongoing reference, to and from, expressed reference. So if I'm here and you're there and we put a line between us, that's the border. We based an ongoing reference to and from the expressed reference, border. Now the word chord, C-O-R-D, it's the constant or the concept, ongoing reference, daya, to and from. It's an ongoing thing. It's a constant to itself, ongoing reference, daya. So when I have a chord strung out, it's the constant ongoing reference to or from, daya, chord. Now, as I've said before in other videos, the D is a softer version of a T because they both go up to the top of your mouth with your tongue. You say order in the court. I mean, you don't have to over-enunciate it like that, but when we say chord, that's the concepts that are going in order, but you don't have an ER because it's just the ongoing reference daya. You're going through the chord. Now, when you say the word order, you're saying the ongoing reference daya, an expressed reference. Somebody's making an order or things are in order. Now, when you say the word court, that's just a stronger word of the concept, ongoing, underlined, or unit reference plus. So when you go to court, they're basically ordering you the concept, ongoing, unit reference plus. So you don't need to get an order from court. We actually need to get our own shit in order to get out of their courts. Wordplay aside, that should make a lot of sense. We don't need anyone to tell us how to live our lives or how to keep things in order if we learn how to do it for ourselves. The biggest issue is not enough of us are willing to try to start teaching others how to do that. Sort, S-O-R-T, subject, ongoing, reference, plus. You have a subject, it's ongoing as a reference, and you're going to do something with it. You're going to sort it, or it's something of that sort. Now just add an ER on it. Someone who sorts things is a sorter. You could say subject, ongoing reference, plus expressed reference. I'm sorting things. I'm a sorter. The word sword, subject, plural, ongoing reference, daya. It's not a T, it's a D, because it's a subject, plural, ongoing reference to and from. A sword. When you swing it back and forth or you thrust it forward, it's going to and from wherever the subject, plural, ongoing reference directs it. Sword. So, how about the word fold? F-O-L-D. If you have a form, force or familiar, ongoing, as it lie, daya, or to and from, you would fold. So that's a form, ongoing, as it lie, to and from, daya, fold. You have a fold in the paper. The form ongoing as it lie, to and from, on top of it is a fold. Now, the word Ford, most people would only think of that as the vehicle. But if you give that vehicle the word Ford, it's almost like the word forward, but you're saying form, force, or familiar, ongoing reference, to and from. So it's what's going to take you around. So then when you apply it to what the word originally was used for, F-O-R-D, Ford, it was something along the lines of if you're at a stream or a river or something shallow that you can make it across. So you'd have to wade your way through it. So you're going to get to the other side from this side, to and from, because that form ongoing reference to and from. You're at the ford of the river or of the stream. Now, there's a word called forge when you forge your way through. You make it through a difficult situation. But then you can also use the word forge to work metal, to melt it down and to shape it. You can also use the word forge to imitate somebody else. And in every single instance, depending on how the word's being used, from where it's being used from, it's form, force, or familiar, ongoing reference, or active here, generated and grouped, expressing. So you're generating and grouping yourself and expressing a form ongoing reference when you're forging a signature. Your form ongoing reference generated in group expression when you're using it to forge steel. Now, when you're working your way through a difficult situation and you forge your way through, force ongoing reference generated in grouped expressing. See how that matters on where you're using the word from. This is why I'm doing these lists of words, because I'm hoping that it can show you that the different usages of the word, they make a lot of difference, but where the word is coming from or where the word is being directed is how it applies, always. And that's why it fits every person, every place, everything, because no one was taught this. And I'm the only person who can teach you. And it's a lot of weight on my shoulders because it seems so simple when I'm just trying to do little words. When I'm talking about some of the cosmic stuff that I know, and most people go, that makes sense. You got to tell more people about that. I try, and I lose them because they can't follow me. So I'm trying to say, hey, words, numbers, letters, there's more than just the math part. There's more than just what the letters look like. There's a spin, there's a combination, there's everything. And nobody taught me this. And I can teach every person who's been researching all this stuff for all these years. And it's not fun because they feel like I'm threatening them or trying to outdo them. I'm trying to help them for nothing. There's a huge difference in that. And if it comes down to the other stuff, I'm actually trying to help people live longer, live healthier, live pain-free lives, live lives that aren't contributing to the downfall of humanity and the inhumanity that we cause to ourselves, animals, nature. I mean, there is no downside to what I'm trying to do for people, except it's hard for them to learn because they have to get rid of a lot of old stuff that's cramming up their head. So now I'll move on to the next word. Since I left off at fold, ford, and forge before that little tangent, how about the word form? F-O-R-M. Form, force, or familiar, ongoing reference, manifest. Something that's manifest as a familiar ongoing reference, manifested, is a form. It's a familiar ongoing reference that's actively conceived or actively conceiving, constant to itself, because M is 13, AC. You could say actively constant to itself, but that would be manifest because it's happening. It's the first letter coming into tense. So you say force, form, or familiar, but we'll leave form out because we're using the word form. So we'll say force ongoing reference or familiar ongoing reference, manifest. That's a form. Now the word fort, when you set up a fort, it's a place that you're going to go with all your munitions and all your supplies if you need to stop for a while and set up something. It's a 4+, or you could say form, force, or familiar, ongoing reference, active here, because R is 18, plus. This is our fort. Or to you guys, this is my fort, because it's the form, ongoing reference, plus. It's a fort. It's a place we set up. 4+. I mean, it sounds so simple and silly, but we all are this simple. We're just overcomplicating things way too damn much. While I'm at it, I'm going a little bit out of order in the alphabetical part of these words, but the word for, F-O-R-E, when something is in the fore, it's like put front or put in a prime position, or it can mean something that's located in the front of something, like the forelegs and the hind legs. You could also say for, as in golf, because it's a form ongoing reference expressing. So when it's the familiar force or form ongoing reference expressing, it usually means going in the direction of forward or ahead. So for, when they do golf, standing in the fore, and them being your forelegs or your forehead, because it's in the front. F-O-R-E, for. Then if you simply just take the E off, you have F-O-R, the ever so popular word, which depends on how you use it in sentences like, that's what this is for, Or what did you do that for? Or what is that for? It literally means form, force, or familiar, ongoing reference. When you say, what is that? It means you don't know. When you say, this is what it's for, you'd say familiar, ongoing reference. That's what this is, familiar, ongoing, referring to. We don't talk like that. We just use little words and letters that mean so much more when they're put together. Like I've said, I'm showing you. Because this is the deepest spiritual part of who we are when we communicate properly. Because only by communicating properly and having the freedom to expand can we actually do anything greater in the world. If we have to keep listening to words that other people made up to keep us in control by confusing us with all these big psychological terms and all these ideas, that's going to keep us in a place where we can't expand. That's why I'm showing you the simplest stuff with the letters and the words, so you can open your heart and see that all we've got to do is care about each other enough to keep helping others learn how to care about each other. Until enough of us do, and we don't even have to worry about having tyrant people trying to kill people off, or run people's lives, or poison people and make them sick so they can benefit off of them. It's all unlawful. It's all sinful. There aren't very many people, whether they're in jail or out of jail, or whether they're police or the military, they're all evil sinners. They're having nothing to do with consciousness. They have nothing to do with the right thing. They're thinking the right thing is what their side of the team has on their playbook or has in their rule book. And that's bullshit, my friends. It is. Because the only right thing to do is something that is in harmony with the world around you, not enforcing what you want to be done. That is a satanic kind of thing to do. You want to do what you want to do, or you want everybody to follow your rules. That's not how it works. We can have harmony with everybody living their own lives within a reasonable place. And they'd have to find that in their heart. And they have to open up their mind and actually become conscious of the world they're in and be able to maintain the ability to be in front of their thoughts instead of letting their thoughts take them over. That's what we have to teach. Not technology. We have to really get people thinking, because they're not even thinking enough to worry about any of this other garbage that we have going on in the world. We've got to get people to actually think about what we're doing in the world, and there is a purpose. I prefer not to get too spiritual on these videos, but it's important that I do because I've included the word sword, and many people have heard this comparison that Christ is the sword. And what would that be? It's the subjected word, the concept here that rised. But at the same time, if you take the S off and you just say word, it's the plural, ongoing, reference, or active here, dia, to and from. And the Bible starts by saying God is the word. Now realize that W is in the 20 category, the twents, it's 23. And then you have O, then you have R, because it's the reference that's active here. And then you have a D. Now in the word G-O-D, you have generated and grouped. In the once category, it's generating in group from something in its first tense. W is a plural to any, and it's constant. It's 23. So when you have G as 7, saying God is the word, you say generated and grouped. Ongoing, dia, to and from. God, everything. From its own first tense position, generated and grouped, ongoing, dia, or to and from direction. Then when you say the word, God is the word, now that's subjected to the sword of Christ, and it's plural, to any, ongoing, reference or active here, dia, to and from. So God is everything, God is the word, but the words are what we're explaining the deeper stuff with. See what I'm trying to get at underneath all this? And why I say that once we get our communication in line, everything can be fixed? The only reason people don't think it can be fixed or that we're hopeless is because they don't want to actually communicate with each other. They don't want to learn. They want life to be easier. And believe me, I understand. It's not going to be easier at first. It's going to be a lot less dramatic if we just cut out all the crap. But over the period of time it takes for us to heal as a collective, while we learn how to care about ourselves and then others and then the world around us, once we do that, everything's going to be fine. But we have to go through those steps, because if we don't, there are going to be people who take not only advantage of us, but take lives whenever they feel they want to. And we can't sit around and wait for that to happen. For the love of all things is why I do this. I'm not against anybody. I'm for everybody. But at the most important level of where I'm aiming is I'm for the truth. I'm for harmony and God. And I'm for bringing that back to everybody. That's why I'm here. There is nothing else for me to do, nothing else for me to study. I already have it, and I can give it to you if you want it. Do you? Or do you want to spend the rest of your life looking for an answer when you have them right here, and they're part of you? So until next time, that's it. Peace and God bless.